mean business at a record pace.
Get 70 miles to the gallon on this one.
Oh, yeah, I'm glad that you followed up.
Yeah.
For the greatest, I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't say the greatest love ballad of this era, but it's
like long line of 80s love ballads.
That's so good.
We don't know if we're ranking these. We're just saying they're good.
Yeah, I mean, if we had to rank, gun to my head, you know,
Peter
had to
Cetera?
rank, like Peter Cetera is going to take number one.
I'm glad you said that.
But Cars is probably up there in the top 5.
Cars is great.
Yeah.
We're gonna keep deep diving into all these songs.
We sure are.
Cars is very underrated band.
Super underrated.
They're even underrated, and like I will forget about them, and then I remember they exist, and I'm always mad that I haven't been listening to them. They're so good.
It's funny though, because it's like they have some of those songs that's like, what was that American Idol that had this song that was like, "If I was invisible," Clay Aiken.
Oh.
And it was like the creepiest song. It was like, I can see
Watch
you
in your room.
You're like, wait, did you just say that?
I mean, he's saying what we're all thinking,
Yeah.
but it's wrong. It's just wrong.
Pretty sure it's a peeping Tom, Clay. Pretty sure that's what you're saying.
Did the Cars have a song?
They have a couple that, like, when I listen to them, I'm like, it's kind of like the Every Breath You Take by the Police, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Where it's like,
If you
I'll
break
be
it down.
watching you.
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah.
ugh,
Yeah. Like
this is a creepy song.
Yeah. It's right on the border.
It's definitely cringy. What they're hinting at.
Okay. Yeah. We should look into those Cars
So
songs.
anyways, we should
Yeah.
we'll deep dive into, you know, which 80s love ballads are lyrically
continue.
inappropriate in current
yeah.
society.
We'll keep going down this hole.
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome to the Fast Ones. My name
Thank
is
you.
Max, and I'm here with Mike, and we're talking about all things motorsport
All things motorsport, 80s music related.
and a lot of 80s pop culture recently. So that's my question. Because
Okay.
this episode, we have a lot to get to. Big
do.
news for Haas fans.
The huge news.
For Haas boys.
Yes. It has nothing to do with your shirt.
Do we want to go over that? Or I also have some stuff from the weekend that I was hoping to share.
Okay, well-
it's movies.
Okay. I mean, I think we're
and-
gonna
and
get
Peter
around to
Cetera
Nico.
related.
Okay, we're gonna get around to Nico. But let's start.
Okay, cool.
Because I
All
think
right.
people are gonna expect Nico. We're gonna get to that.
Yeah, we're gonna get to Nico Hulkenberg. I'm wearing my Nico Hulkenberg shirt, and you are
And I'm wearing a
Haas
typical
Boy.
racing shirt.
Yeah, we were so stoked about Nico, but we'll get to it.
We'll get
to it. But first,
Yes.
so because of Peter Cetera
Yes.
and The Glory of Love,
Yes.
I had to go back and watch Karate Kid 2
So, okay, this
to
is
be like, what was the movie that inspired this love song?
Right.
Because I haven't seen it.
You've never seen
No,
Karate
I've
Kid
never
2?
seen Karate Kid 2.
Oh man,
Yeah.
it's not a bad sequel.
It's not a bad sequel.
It's pretty great.
I'll say that. Yeah, it's up there. I don't know which one I like more now, the first or the second. I might.
This is an
The
imitation
second.
that I can't really do because I'm not that heritage. But the Sato was a great villain.
Yeah, he's good.
Sato is great, and his nephew.
They're great.
They're so great.
And this is what I want to talk to you about. You remember the movie well enough. I was
so
hoping
well.
to
Yeah,
have
of
this
course.
conversation
Yeah,
with you.
yes, I can recite the whole stupid thing.
So, man, everyone in that movie is so great.
Yes.
All the actors have so much charisma,
Right.
so much charm and chemistry with each other, except for Ralph Macchio.
He's the worst. He's the worst character in the
He's
movie.
the worst. And oh man, I don't know if it's because he's playing this character,
Right.
But he's also I think he's just kind of stiff.
No, he's always been. He was the perfect '80s movie hero.
Yeah,
Because
Yeah.
he was a goober.
he's such a goober, dude. The first Karate Kid.
Yeah.
kind of a goober.
You like totally deserve to get his butt kicked by the dudes all that
100%.
have a cobra on their back. Like, of course he got his butt kicked.
Yeah, dude. So in Karate Kid 2, I think they started filming this after Karate Kid 1 when he probably had a big growth spurt.
Yeah.
Because he's like full grown man tall, but he's 13-year-old weight.
Yeah.
He's so skinny.
And tall.
He like lurches around.
Yeah.
It's like he's like his shoulders are hunched forward.
Right.
He's barely moving his knees.
Yeah. In modern days, they'd be like, he has scoliosis.
It's so true.
Yeah.
It's crazy how true that is. You watch it and he's also like on the balls of his feet walking around.
You're like, is he learning karate?
Any guy here could kick this guy's butt. But he's a karate master.
But he is.
Dude, he is. And shoot, that song, The Glory of Love.
So good. Has
so
nothing
good.
to do with the story
Nothing
arc.
to do with the story arc.
No.
His girlfriend, Kumiko, in the movie.
Yeah.
So cute.
Such a babe.
Such a babe.
Yeah.
And I don't know why she's hanging out with Ralph Macchio.
No one does.
There's a
Just the American boy. We'll give it that, maybe.
No, I think that's what it
yeah.
is. Like the only guy in the town who's not a bully.
Yeah, who's not from Okinawa and not a like crime lord. You know? Oppressive leader.
They're walking through this like little downtown city.
Yeah.
That's in the little island, and they stop by a window that has a TV in it, and there's a dancer on it. Do you remember this scene?
I feel like, yeah,
and
continue.
Kamiko's like, "That's what I want to be when I grow up."
Yeah,
and Danny LaRudo,
Yeah.
he's like, "Well, you want to be a TV salesman?" And I'm like, "What?" It's like, how thick is this kid?
Like, you can't even pick up on this. She's talking about the dancer.
What you want to sell TVs for a living?
Yeah.
I'm like, you're still New Jersey.
Yeah, like, how are you? You've been living in Reseda for like the last 5 years. How are you still Jersey?
Such a thick accent. I was like, gosh, this guy's the worst.
It's so
hopeless. So a few more thoughts on the movie. Yeah, honestly. So, like I said, the villain. You said the villain's great.
Yeah, he is great.
His love interest is great.
Yeah.
Mr. Miyagi is always great.
Always
Nominated for an
amazing.
Oscar for the first movie.
Yeah, was he?
Yeah.
Really? I didn't know that.
Like
that's
that's
amazing.
how good these people are around Ralph
Yeah.
Macchio.
Oh, yeah.
And we always say Ralph Macchio.
Pat Morita?
His name is Ralph.
Yeah.
Just first name Ralph.
Yeah.
Do you remember what the last word of that movie is?
Honk.
Karate Kid 2. It's honk.
It is honk.
It's honk. You know this really
Because,
well.
dude, he holds his hand up for the final karate chop.
Dude, so that last scene is wild.
And he's like-
that they're letting high school kids have a fight to the death.
Yeah, and he's
in like this island castle prison.
Yeah, and he's like,
He holds him. He's like,
kill
life
me.
or death.
And he's like,
live or
"Dad."
die. And he's
Yeah.
like, die.
and he's like,
And then it cuts to black.
I am the man who will fight for your honor.
That show is wild.
So good.
It is so good.
It's so good.
Was not expecting the ending. It blew me away because I know he's not going to kill him. He is the good
Isn't
guy.
the intro of the movie that
They're fighting. It takes
he
place
fights
right after Karate Kid 1.
Yeah, it's Cobra Kai.
After the competition.
Master is beating up Johnny,
Yeah. And Mr.
then-
Miyagi steps in.
and he does the honk on him.
Yeah,
right.
after
So
he
that's full
beats him
circle.
up. Yeah, full circle. Didn't need it to be full circle though.
No.
It didn't need to be sandwiched like that at the end. It was
I
like,
mean,
oh, remember that from the start? It was a theme. No, I was expecting like to drop him and be like, we don't need to fight this way. And then the girl comes, they hug, and
Right.
no, honk,
Yeah.
cut to black,
Yeah.
Peter Cetera.
And cue Cetera.
Cue the best love song ever written. The tone was wild.
So out
And I
there.
lost my mind.
This is my favorite part of this is that so my daughter's birthday was this past couple like weeks. Both of my
you have,
two
you have some birthdays this
two
month,
of my
yeah.
daughters have birthdays within a week of each other. And at the end of one of them, we set up a movie screen or we set up a projector, just like a crappy projector outside. We were just projecting on the side of the house after dark. And we watched the Minecraft movie, which it
is great.
It's great. Okay.
Yeah.
But once it was over, everyone was kind of like wrapping up and walking home or whatever. And it was still connected. So I was like, well, I wonder what's on. So I just flicked to live and scrubbed the channels and Karate Kid 2
Oh, nice.
was on.
It was meant to be.
And I clicked it and started watching it. And
Wow, we were both ready.
and my oldest was like, what even is this movie? So we watched Karate Kid yesterday.
Oh, wow.
The first one.
You are so primed.
So I was ready for this conversation
Holy cow.
without even knowing it.
That is crazy.
So anyways,
Dang, yeah, stars were aligned. We are the fast ones for a reason.
somehow even our movie moments are aligned without
The
even speaking
stars
about
align us. Okay, so yeah, if you haven't seen it, go watch Karate Kid 2. Listen to Peter Cetera. Yeah.
it. It's like
Sorry to-
it's
sorry
like a
to-
6-episode run on Peter
Sorry
Cetera.
to spoil the ending of Karate Kid 2. Oh, man.
This is what the name of the next episode is just live or die.
Yeah,
Honk. We should have named
there
it
also
Live.
wasn't any karate training in that movie.
We should have named it Live or Die Hulk. Hulk. It would have been the right name for this one. Kyle Marlin, thanks for checking in
Yeah.
on your attendance. Still perfect attendance.
Perfect sense.
He
He
just-
just a week, actually.
Don't.
Oh, I only know because he brought it up.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think he said I missed last week or something.
He said, "What a race," and he's not wrong. So we are going to get to
will
that.
get to it. Okay,
We're gonna
so
get to that.
While we were watching Karate Kid 2, I discovered my roommate. He was like, "How do we?" He's like, because there's cool Japanese cars in that movie.
Right.
Really cool Japanese cars.
I talked about it. There's like a Prince.
I don't even know the car names.
I think
the brands.
Sato drives a Prince.
Okay.
Which is the company that Nissan bought to acquire the Skyline name. if you
Gotcha.
remember.
We've talked about that. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, there's some really cool cars. The movie looks like it takes place in the 50s.
Yeah.
His girlfriend drives a really cute, like, convertible thing. I don't know. He's like, my roommate's like, how do we figure out what cars are in these movies? He discovered a website called the IMCDB.
Oh yes, the
you know
International
this?
Movie Car Database.
It's crazy.
yeah, it's real.
It's real. Oh man, see, you're already up to date. I was gonna say, like, what are your favorite movies?
Yeah.
Let's look some up and see if you know cars in them.
No, I think I told you this, but part of like what's funny within car culture
Yeah.
is that like there is a Hakosuka, which is the first iteration of Nissan Skyline after Nissan had bought them.
Okay.
And it's in Fast 6, the one that starts in Brazil. So whatever one,
Yeah.
they're
It might be 5 or 6. Yeah.
so that car that's in that movie that's in the very beginning is like everyone was like, oh, like cool, like they didn't pick an R32, they didn't pick some of these kind of more, we'll say, commercialized mainstream Skylines. They went back
Yeah.
and picked a really cool one. But I know from like the community
Yeah.
that car got ruined by the filmmakers. The crew that handled it did not take care of it. Paint was trashed. The interior was destroyed.
No.
When the car got back to the owner, he
They
was
didn't
like,
make like a fake one for like action shots.
no, and they didn't even use it for action shots. It was just like cruising through Sao Paulo.
Oh no.
And they
That's not
returned the
good.
car trashed. So, but anyways, these
Yeah.
stories and things
Okay.
exist within the communities of car culture. If your car was used in a movie
Yeah.
and it's ended up on the IMCDB,
Yeah.
you're the owner of the car that's in that movie. Tell me about your experience.
That's crazy.
Well, then come back in one
That's
piece.
crazy.
Anyways, pretty wild.
That is wild.
Yeah.
And it's a cool website.
It is way cool.
If you're watching a movie or if you think of a movie, just go and type it in and then it will pull. It just has tons of screenshots from the movie and of cars and it just lists the car name.
right.
In case you're like, what kind of car is that? Look up the movie. And someone has screenshot that part and listed the year and model.
Totally.
It's wild.
So did you look at the Karate Kid too? And
Oh,
some
yeah,
of the cars?
yeah. But I also looked at a lot of other movies like Fast and the Furious.
And
'cause I was
Condor
like,
Man.
I haven't looked up Condor Man. I was saving it for this. Is it going to be?
It's a lot of Porsches.
Is it even going to be on
It's
here?
a lot of Porsches.
Condor Man.
Of course, it's going to be
The
in there.
moment of truth. Search. Is it? Is it going to be on here?
It's going to be on there. It has to be.
It is on here. Okay. There are a lot of cars on here. First one is an Alfa Romeo Alfetta.
Yeah.
Citroen. There's a Fiat Ritmo. Nova Sterling. Mercedes Benzes. Porsche 911 1969. 1975 Porsche 911 Turbo.
Yeah, 930s.
Yep. Toyota Corollas. Yeah.
But anyways,
It's on here. I
It is
was
on there.
really hoping it wouldn't show up. And then I could be like, it's not a car movie. Did not work. Dang, but Condor Man, do you know what kind of car he drives? I assume it's this yellow one with a big bird on the hood.
Yep, that one.
It's the Nova Sterling.
Yes.
Anyway, cool website.
Cool website. But it is
Yeah.
useful because even at times, even though my nerdery exceeds most car nerdery nerds.
Yeah. You
Which
are an
is-
abnormality.
Yeah. Even there are sometimes where I'm watching something and I'm like, is that a Volvo or a Datsun? What model is that? I want to know. It's such a cool resource.
Yeah. I shouldn't be surprised that you knew that website. I was hoping I was
I don't
gonna
use it very
surprise you.
often, but I do love that it exists.
Yeah, I'm going to use it more for sure. Because, yeah, that's rad. That's cool.
Way cool.
Yeah, I should look up Lord of the Rings.
The Riders of Rohan all drive
Yeah,
Nissan Frontiers. Hard bodies.
Lord of the Rings. Because isn't there one in like Lord of the Rings? There is a shot, like a wide shot.
Kyle says it's number 5 that's in Brazil. Thank you, Kyle. Honorary producer.
Another honorary producer title for Kyle. Yeah, super cool stuff.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay, Karate Kid 2 down.
yes.
IMCDB.com down.
Yes. We've gotten past the first initial stages of this episode
Yeah.
with movie and pop culture references kicked right in the nets.
Yeah. And Ralph.
And Ralph Macchio.
I'm just going to call him Ralph from now on. It just doesn't click because you're like, oh, Ralph Macchio. Yeah. Macchio. That's a cool name.
Yeah,
He's in
yeah.
Karate Kid 2.
Yeah.
No, it's Ralph, as in Ralph Wiggum.
It's funny.
They
to
were like, Ralph.
it's also
Do you want to be the Karate Kid?
yeah, totally. It's so funny that like to introduce my kids to that movie as well, and that like my kids are 10 and younger, so like they're not old, and so just to be like watching it, and then like he swears so much. So it's both, man. I'm just like throwing stuff, and he's like goes after Miyagi, being like, I've been doing your chores, I've been doing all this crap for you, and you're not teaching me karate. This deal sucks. And it's just funny to be sitting there going like, oh, sorry, kids, I forgot that he's
You forget
kind
80s
of a
movies.
punk kid that swears a
my-
ton. You know?
So Karate Kid 2, rated PG, looked it up.
Yeah.
The first scene is Mr. Miyagi visiting Ralph in the showers.
Yeah.
And there is a full frontal male nudity blurred in the background, but you can see it.
You're like, whoa, hey, whoa, what
You
happened
couldn't
here?
have shot this outside the shower? What is this scene?
Why is he like visiting him
Why are
in
the
the shower?
80s so insane with their movies?
You're like, why was this
Yeah, the director's like,
unjustifiable?
okay, gotta film it in the shower.
Yeah.
We need extras.
And they need to be under 18.
They gotta be under 18
You're
and
like-
nude.
You're like, wait, who is this director? Was he on the Epstein visiting
Oh,
list?
gosh.
That doesn't exist?
It doesn't exist. Gosh. Oh. There's also a point in the movie, and I forget what it was, but Mr. Miyagi, he like has his Miyagi way of teaching karate.
Right.
And like Danny LaRusso gets all uptight about it. Like, hey, like, I don't know why you having me do this way of doing this thing. And I was like, you just
Christopher
went through
Walken.
one movie of him teaching you how to fight karate.
Yeah.
You don't trust him yet?
Yeah. Just wax a damn car and shut up, Daniel.
Yeah. It's the nails.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
the nail in the
Oh,
house.
yeah.
And he's like, why are you having me do this?
And he's
what
dressed
you think
up-
about over here?
He's
Yeah.
dressed up like Lloyd Christmas from Dumb and Dumber in that scene. Why is he wearing the worst blue tuxedo you've ever seen? I can't
true.
figure that out.
A ruffled puffy shirt.
Yeah.
Was he going to a dance or did he just get home from a dance?
Something. And he's like all pissed because like
Hey.
Elizabeth Shue has like dumped him for some
Oh, yeah.
reason. She's like, she ran off with some guy to college.
Oh
blah,
yeah.
blah, blah, blah.
Oh yeah, they get rid of the girlfriend and the mom, but they reference them like they're still there.
Right,
they're not
right.
in the movie.
They're not in the movie.
My mom says I could go to Japan. But don't. Yeah, and then at the end, there's a fight to the death.
Yeah.
And Mr. Miyagi is the caretaker of Ralph Macchio, and he's like, "This is fine."
It's like, he's just standing there with his very serious face.
It's like, is there, all the parents are just watching this
Daniel's
happen?
mom would be losing it. She was
Yeah.
really upset about the black eye. I can't
Yeah.
imagine that she'd be condoning this.
Yeah, fight to the death for honor,
Yeah.
and then the honk at the end. Cut to black. Peter Cetera.
With the drum.
Oh, I didn't even know what that was because I didn't know there was no movement he like derived from that until the end when he's like he's
like
doing
the-
this double-handed punch thing.
Yeah. And then, and it's like, wait, you learned that from a drum?
He didn't train at all.
I didn't see you do that on a stump.
No, there
The
wasn't.
first movie had a
He
stump.
had the hooks flying from the dock.
oh, yeah.
And it flies once, he falls off. He climbs back up, it flies, and he just steps off to the side. And it's like training done.
Ms. LaRusso, your parenting is questionable that you've let this man take your son to Okinawa, where he's going to train them on a fish dock with hooks.
Flying hooks. Gosh, such a great movie.
What a movie.
So I need to see Karate Kid 3.
Yes.
Yeah.
Karate Kid 3. Oh, that is it.
And then
that still is Daniel.
It is, yeah. And
then the next Karate Kid is
Hilary Swank. Haven't seen that one.
Yes.
I have seen Cobra Kai, and now I want to go back to like the first episode and see what happened to Kimiko or whatever.
Oh yeah. I don't think that
I would have taken Kimiko over Elizabeth Shue.
Yeah.
She was cute.
Yeah.
Okay.
Elizabeth Shue was in too many movies.
Yeah, it's true. How many listeners want us to keep talking about Karate Kid franchises?
For the 6 that are in the chat, weigh in. We will have a poll.
We'll have a poll. Okay, shifting gears. This week we had Silverstone, the British Grand Prix.
We had the British Grand Prix.
And it was epic.
And it was, I would love to be like the British bias or something annoying to say that's like negative about Silverstone and England and F1 or whatever. It's always the best race.
Yeah.
Even when
last year was great.
It was last year was great. When Lewis,
the year before was great. Was that the year that Lewis...
The flat tire when he raced on 3 tires.
That was Silverstone?
Through Hanger Straight, and you could see Max flying
coming
in the
through
background. It was the greatest finish of a race I've ever watched.
Forgot that was Silverstone. That was epic.
And then
that was one of the first years I watched Formula One.
Right.
And I was blown away that he was like on 3 tires. Max is flying, hunting him down.
Just like Lewis has a flat tire.
Get him. And then like around the last corner, you see Max.
He's just like
flying.
And
he did it.
He did it. He won the race.
And then what year was it that Lewis punted Max into the wall and then celebrated?
That was 2021.
That was 2021. That was the epic year.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it would have been 2020 when Lewis got the flat. They did 2 British Grand Prix that year during COVID. They did it like back-to-back weekends, which was cool. And one of them had Lewis finished with the flat.
Why did they did 2 British Grand Prix?
Yeah, because during COVID they were trying to fill the calendar, so they'd back-to-back a couple racetracks.
I had no idea.
And British Grand Prix was one of them.
Interesting. Okay, wild.
And then Trash Panda said, came here for F1 talk, stayed for the 80s movie references.
Good.
I'm glad he gets us. But yeah, but then, this was also the racetrack that Carlos Sainz got his first win.
Oh, yeah.
Racing Charles.
Yeah.
And like had broken front wing and like whatever. There's just been like Silverstone delivers.
You're right. Yeah. It's been consistent.
It always has a great race. And through goes Hamilton when he passed.
The epic overtake on Perez and Leclerc.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you could hear the grandstands
just
losing
freaking
their
out.
minds.
Yeah. It's like, man, Silverstone always has a good race.
You're right. Yeah. We would love to be biased and make fun of the Brits.
But the Silverstone is a great racetrack.
It's been so fun. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So we just add another epic Silverstone Grand Prix to the list.
Another epic Silverstone Grand Prix for sure. Yeah.
I think that the winner is a gimme.
Uh-huh.
I know it's his home Grand Prix, and do I dive right in? Are we gonna
sure?
Should we just start there?
Yeah.
I would love it's that George conversation.
Yeah.
Or Lando conversation where I'm like, if you overtake for the win, then I'm not over here dissing you.
Oh, okay.
But when your teammate gets a 10-second penalty and you win at home, then it was a lucky freaking win.
It's a lucky win.
Yeah. And I know that you'll take it no matter what, as just like anyone would.
Anyone would, yeah. Because it's the rules.
But a part of me kind of looks at it going like, if Charles Leclerc had won in Monaco and it was because Carlos got a penalty, it would have been an empty win.
It would have felt a little bit more deflated.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was the only thing that I felt for Lando is that I'm like, you could have won this race fair and square with a better qualifying lap or overtaking your teammate, but the 10-second penalty, just put a damper on it.
Yeah, I get that.
And I'm happy for him.
Yeah.
A lot of people were like, oh, his dream came true this weekend. And I'm like,
it's because Oscar made a mistake.
That's a weak ass dream.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to put it.
It was under a safety car.
Yeah.
Can you explain that to me? I don't have an opinion on it yet.
Okay.
And I would like to hear your opinion because if you didn't catch the race, there was rain the whole time, it felt like.
Right.
So every other lap, there was someone who spun out into a wall, caused a safety car, which caused a lot of shuffling and jumbling around of all the drivers.
Right.
Very exciting, super fun.
Totally.
At one moment during the race, Oscar, who was leading out the safety car, and he slams on his brakes. Max slammed on his brakes, and then the race started. Max spun out, and then Oscar got like 10-second penalty for slamming on his brakes.
Right.
Yeah, and I have thoughts, but I want to hear like your thoughts.
So
Like why? Because I've seen George do that.
Right.
I've seen Max do that.
So this
I've
happened
seen
in
Lewis
Canada.
do that.
right.
Yeah.
So the Canadian Grand Prix, George Russell hit his brakes. Safety car turned its lights off. Max went past him.
Yeah.
And they almost penalized Max rather than penalizing George for the sudden stopping. And the difference in this case is the PSI, is what they say. The pressure
This was
applied to the brake pedal.
Keep going. Yeah.
And again, they use kilometers. Henry, forgive me on this, but it's an exaggerated speed. And that's the only reason that I'm not like the biggest fan of KPH is because it's like, they're going 320. They're going 180.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, I hate the exaggerated thing a little.
Exaggerated.
It sounds
the metric
ridiculous.
system is just exaggerated
It does
measurements.
sound, I feel like I remember getting a ticket in Australia for going 55 and a 50. That's less than 30 miles an hour.
Yeah. And that's like 1.5 miles per hour over.
Right.
Yeah.
At a speed camera, I got a ticket for that.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is outrageous. Like, the speedometer doesn't even technically read the increment by which I was speeding.
Yeah. I get that.
Technically.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Okay. Exaggerated speed.
I digress. But the point being that they say that Oscar decreased his speed by 100 kph
Yeah.
and used 60 psi
Yeah.
of brake pressure, where George Russell had used 36 psi, which was reasonable.
See, now we're getting into a weird world.
A super gray area, in my opinion.
Because what if someone does 40?
Right.
What if you do 50?
Where's the line, guys?
Yeah.
And why is it a 10-second penalty?
Yeah.
That's a significant penalty. And the way that they say that the stupid penalties work is that the benchmark is 10.
Okay.
Unless mitigating circumstances, they will lessen it to 5. But that's the part of it that it's inconsistent. Once again, you're leaving a gray area.
Very weird gray area.
And if it had been 5 seconds, Lando won the race by 6 seconds. So if they had lessened the penalty to 5 seconds, there's a good chance that Oscar and Lando have to fight for the win. So again,
Yeah. And then,
but even then, it doesn't even seem like was the penalty merited to begin with.
yeah.
And the reason that they say it is because of the concertina effect that goes behind. But this is why Daniel Ricciardo got rear-ended in China.
By Lance?
Yes, was because they slowed down for the safety car ending, and everyone hit their brakes, and Lance wasn't paying attention to rear-ended Daniel. And that's what they consider the accordion effect, the concertina of the cars coming together and traffic jamming, right? And so they're saying that because the conditions were poor for visibility and whatever, Oscar hitting his brakes to that level was a risk to the other drivers, and that he deserved a penalty. Now, again, one way or another, how you picture that or see that, fine that maybe a penalty is justified. And there was even a statement from McLaren saying that his brake bias or something like brake warm up was on, which meant that when he applied the brakes, the car stopped more aggressively because it was in certain settings or whatever. At the end of the day,
it's crazy because now what drivers are going to be trying to hit that gray area if they want to play this game,
right?
And then it's like, how does a driver now know? Oh, I'm doing 50 psi, I'm doing 60.
Right?
How about they're in a car fighting for their life, and it's like, just let them brake,
right?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm on Oscar's side or not, but I'm just like, that's so weird because now you've opened up this whole like can of worms of
right
when Max does it next time, what's the rule gonna be?
And I think that ultimately, at the end of the day, if this had happened, they were going to make an example out of somebody.
Yeah.
If George got away with it, and it was because it wasn't as belligerent or blatant as what Oscar did, then Oscar's the one who they're going to make an example of being like, that was too far.
Yeah.
But I think that ultimately the reason that a penalty was issued was because Max spun out.
And like, you think it was because of that?
I do think that it was.
How does that happen? Because in my brain, I'm just like, well, he's still just going.
Right.
He still hit the corner wrong.
Right.
How could that be because of him starting?
You could argue that Max's spin out was due to the tires not being warmed up because he didn't have any opportunity to warm them up once Oscar had done that or whatever. There's Christian Horner has 6 million reasons to go and complain about it.
Yeah,
and so the stewards are like, well, we'll give Oscar the penalty since Max just lost 9 positions. That's my take. I don't know if that's the actual reason, but in my eyes, it seems as though those two are probably correlated. A cause and effect of sorts.
Wow.
So
okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, but it wasn't the only controversial call from the FIA this weekend.
No, it was another one.
Ollie.
What happened to Ollie?
So during qualifying, Ollie Bearman.
Okay, yeah.
He, I guess it was during practice that this happened, but there was a red flag. And during the red flag, he was going into the pit entry too quickly. And I think it was to try to warm up brakes or tires. He had some kind of reason why he was doing what he was doing. But when he hit the brakes at the pit entry to slow down, everything locked up, the car went sideways and he crashed.
Oh, how did I not know this?
So they gave him a 10-place grid penalty for being
dangerous in the pits?
dangerous during the red flag
dangerous.
conditions. And Ollie qualified 8th for the race.
Oh, shoot.
And then started
qualifying.
P18.
Yeah, he did great. Yeah.
And it sucks. It's like, that's a significant 10-place grid penalty for Max Verstappen when he qualifies pole, because he starts 11th, and that's frustrating.
Yeah.
But qualifying 8th and going to P18 is what was the point of qualifying?
Yeah.
It's a waste of tires. So it's anyways, I felt like that was frustratingly over the top, but then they also gave him 4 penalty points on his license.
Holy cow.
So he's only like 1 point away from a race ban, which
Serious?
is it's like,
How does he have that many already?
I don't know. There's a few other things. So
I thought he was immune to that because of the British bias. I thought they would love him more.
right.
Yeah, dang it.
So, but yeah.
That's
so anyways,
crazy.
that
That's
wasn't
a
the
lot of
only
points.
bad like call, or at least the controversial call, I would say, of the weekend. It seemed like they were out to get some people.
Yeah, I'll say this for Ollie. He had a good race in my eyes because he was the only rookie that survived the race.
Right.
By
Even
the
though he did
end,
run into his teammate, but we're going to look past that.
I mean, everyone was running into everyone.
That's true.
Yeah. I laughed out loud when George Russell was like, yeah, let's do it. Like, let's go for the slicks or whatever. And I was like, please let this happen. And then a lap later, George was spinning out, and I was like, yay!
Dude, his spin was gnarly too. It was like a very, very fast part of the track that he lost it. But yeah, to your
And then
point,
he brought it back on. He saved it.
He did.
Boo.
But
But I was dying. when
I
it
love that,
spun
like,
out.
his engineer was like, yeah, let's time it right. But right now is like suicidal.
Yeah.
And then George is like, F it. Let's go.
Yeah, he kind of like said something like, let's be brave, or let's do it now.
For the
Let's
record,
take the risk.
George has the worst record of doing this. Of anyone that I could think of. George jumps the gun on going to slicks more often than any other F1 driver.
I haven't noticed that.
He has crashed. I swear if I was to go Google it, I would find at least 5 or 6 other times that he's done this, whether they're in qualifying sessions or in the race. George has always gone to slicks too soon. This has now become like, I feel like a running joke.
Oh, really?
So as soon as he was like F it, let's do it, I was like, it's too soon. I'm sitting here if I were on the pit wall, I'd be like, George is going to slicks. We're 2 laps away.
Yeah, just 2 more laps,
Just wait,
George.
guys. Let George crash.
No one's
He
gonna
might
be in
bring
the
out
pits.
the safety flag.
No one's being in the pits. You come in, we're not going to be there.
Yep. If George crashes, we get a safety car anyways. Let him do it. Let him
And
do
maybe
it.
Kimmy will be able to get further up.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. When he was spinning out, I loved it. There was a few spin outs, or like there was one where I feel like Charles Leclerc went just cross country.
Yeah. Yep.
And he was just able to get right back on the track and keep racing.
Right.
And I know there might have been maybe like a risk to damaging the floor of the car.
Right.
But also, I feel like that was just a shortcut.
It's just a big shortcut.
And one of them, it could have been that Leclerc one.
Yeah.
It was over pavement, and it was like a full 360.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then right back onto the track after like a chicane had been avoided. And I was like, did he just save time?
You're like, was that a lasting advantage?
Did he do that on purpose to make it look, oh, I lost the car? And then like, boom, back on the track.
And then gained 5 seconds
Yeah.
on the car ahead.
Yeah.
I have wondered that at times, but that would be a very Fernando Alonso thing to do, to be like, oh, I lost it on the radio and then have gained 5 seconds. Like, how is that possible?
It was some wild spin outs and some wild saves.
This race was full of chaos. At one point, the rain was like, it was like, I don't even know what to compare it to. It was like Taiwan.
Straight up downpour.
Just the heaviest
Monsoon.
downpour. At one stage, I was sitting on the couch and I nudged my wife and I'm like, it is a soup right now. I'm like, you cannot see anything.
Yeah.
How have they not red flagged it? It was crazy. And surprisingly, that was not the time that anyone crashed.
Yeah.
It was all before that.
all before that, and then all after when they started going all to the slicks. And I was like,
Yeah.
ooh, we're going to see some fun things.
Yeah, totally.
There were some amazing camera shots, and maybe you picked up on this. And I thought, ooh, the guy who is filming this right now is loving this shot.
Yeah.
Because it was right on the front of the car. And behind them is just a giant spray of water. You
Yeah.
can't see any other car. But they'd come right at the camera and then turn, and then
Yeah.
be instantly another car.
Yeah,
turn.
yeah.
And so you're just seeing like McLaren, Mercedes,
Yeah,
Ferrari.
yeah.
And I was like, this is a good shot.
Honestly, it's one of the things that I find the most impressive about F1 drivers is like you see it in that moment that they have the track memorized.
Yeah.
It's a memorized thing, even at that speed, because that differential of like how fast they're going into cops when it's wet, they are flat out in the dry, but they're decreasing speed and downshifting in the rain. And knowing that distance, even though you're not closing at the same speed and everything, it's amazing to me that they know where their breaking point is when they can't see. There's just a mist.
Yeah. It's impressive.
It's like that. It's amazing because what you're saying is that the camera is seeing race cars appear out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere. And you get the onboard cameras, and it's just white.
Right.
Just a white cloud of water. And yeah, they can't see 2 inches in front of their helmet, but yet they're still driving at over 150 miles an hour down
Right.
the track. It's crazy.
Like, what was it? Lawson or no, Hadjar.
Hadjar crashed into
rear-ended
Antonelli.
Antonelli.
Yeah.
And like you watched his onboard. He's just like racing, and then all of a sudden there's a rain light as he's under the car, and he's
Yeah.
like,
What do I do?"
Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Wasn't until I hit him that I saw him.
Yeah.
So again, kudos to these guys. They really are robots.
Yeah.
Amazing in that way.
And along those same lines, I was really impressed with Fernando Alonso at one point because the track had started drying up and people had moved to slicks, and then they're still barreling around this track. And on slicks, you're on the racing line that has hopefully been all dried out because you've hit it enough with like the inters,
Right.
it's dispersed water,
Right.
and it's dry enough for you to start racing on it. And as I was watching Fernando Alonso do a lap at like full speed, and I was thinking like, this is crazy that this guy not only has the guts to like go this fast with like inches on either side being water, but that he trusts his wheels and brakes enough in these kind of semi-wet conditions to know that he's not going to fly off the corner into the wall.
Right.
And that was blowing my mind.
Right.
Because all of them are doing that. Some of them do spin out and go into the wall, but
Right.
holy cow, you have to still attempt the fastest approach and hit the apex, hit the braking, and just trust that your tires aren't going to spin out.
No, I think that's a good point because you almost think that like there would be this cutoff point.
Like I'd be cautious.
Right. That like the other drivers, you think that they're going to be like, okay, guys, we got to be adults.
Yeah.
We got to be mature.
Yeah.
Like, don't tickle me right now. Like, I just want to, like, I'm in my sleeping bag. That's weird. You're in my space. I know we're camping and it's a bunch of guys, but like, don't touch me. I'll freaking punch you.
Yeah. Let's
Right.
just be cool about this.
Just be cool, dudes. I don't want anything weird. That's what I feel like you would almost expect the drivers to do in rain conditions. To be like, don't be like trying to pass me right now, bro. I'll freak out.
Yeah.
But you can't be. They're going as hard to the limit
Yeah.
in the wet as they would in the dry.
Yeah.
So it's the actual limit of adhesion for the wet. And that's where it's crazy, is because you're like, well, they're pushing it so freaking hard. And that limit is knife edge more than it is in the dry when it's wet. And so like, yeah, you step over that limit, then you get the spin outs.
Yeah.
And you are the wrong tire, or you put the slick accidentally on a wet patch or whatever, that will cause you to spin. But I agree with you. I think that that's part of what we see. You see these guys pushing a different limit. Even though it's slower, it's still the absolute limit of an F1 car. It's just in that setting or in that, weather environment. So pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Because even in the dry, like even on a bright sunny day where the track is dry, I am still blown away at like the trust they have in the car.
Right.
That the aerodynamics, the brakes, the tires, everything will hold them on the ground.
Right.
Otherwise, they're flying off into the air.
Right. Yeah.
And and I think that
And they're
is
Joe
wild.
Guan Yu.
Yeah,
at a fence or something. It's crazy.
And then the fact that they're doing it when it's raining, I'm just blown away. Yeah, it was a fun race.
It was a great race, and again, kind of your point. It's cool to see. It's always cool to see the veterans throw down, and you see Lewis. Lewis got P4, and this is the thing. I think we're ready for it.
Yeah,
we're ready to talk about Nico.
Yeah, Nico Hulkenberg.
The Hulkenberg.
Just amazing, dude.
The Haas Boy.
It was so fun.
It was so fun to see. But this is the situation that he has been in forever.
Yeah, let's give a little and for new listeners and for me to get a refresher, you know a bit about Nico's history.
Right.
Like he's been pretty unlucky.
Always.
But he's a great driver. He's one of my favorites. I got my Nico shirt on today.
Right.
He's great.
He's so great.
Yeah.
But every single time that he's gotten close to a podium, most of them have been rain races.
Really?
Has been in the wet, because he's great at understanding grip in tricky conditions. But the problem is that he also would push that limit. And so like for Force India in Brazil, he crashed, took himself out. I think he took one other driver out.
Was he running pretty close?
Yeah, he was in the podium positions. He was second. I think he was second or third when he crashed. And everybody was like, no, that was his moment. It was the podium he's been waiting for. This past Interlagos, where he high centered and he got stuck. It was for Haas. He was running great. And then he spun off on the first corner of Interlagos after the start finish. And he ended up on some weird uneven concrete. And the car got stuck.
Right, yeah.
And he called some marshals over to push him off. And then they black flagged him, saying that they couldn't do that. And I'm like,
just let the boys race.
just let him race. Wait, you want him to like rock back and forth and get off the high center is ridiculous.
Yeah. And I remember, what year was it where Haas was in the Australian Grand Prix?
Yeah.
Nico was up in third after that safety car restart.
Esteban and Pierre took each other out at Alpine. Yeah.
Nico got up to third, and then they had to reset the order back to what it was.
Because Fernando came over the radio and he was like, do you remember that time in 1987 when the safety car came out and it wasn't even before the lane?
He pulled out his racing index, like encyclopedia brain.
They have to reset the order. They have to reset it.
Yeah.
Do not let them even do anything
before
else.
what are the inter...
Yeah, he's like, we didn't hit the first sector time.
Yeah, the sectors.
Or a safety car line or something.
It was like, Hulkenberg was on the podium.
He was like, what are you doing, Fernando?
Just unlucky, dude.
So unlucky. At every turn, he was unlucky. But that was the thing, is that I'm like, we watched this week, and I just kept like, I think I even posted on Instagram. I'm like, stay calm, stay calm.
Yeah.
Hulk's in third.
Yeah.
Like deep breaths.
Don't jinx it.
Don't jinx this.
Yeah.
It's an unfortunately bad habit of that. And that it turned out just amazing. It turned out exactly how we had hoped.
Yeah, so great. I was holding my breath to the very finish line.
The very end.
Like, it's not over. It's not over.
I was texting with my dad, and I think I literally said to him that I was like, this is the most nervous I have been watching the finish of a race.
Yeah.
Like knowing that there's wet patches, there's anything, just anything that could make this more high stakes. And I'm like, please.
Lewis is behind him.
Yeah, totally.
Like,
and
Lewis isn't
hunting him
giving
in
it
a
up.
Ferrari, not a Sauber.
Yeah. There's
And
a lot
Lewis
going
had
on.
won the year previous because of wet conditions, right?
Yeah.
So, oh man, it was intense.
Pretty intense. And then just so great when he crosses the finish line. And I was kind of mad at the coverage because they were filming Lando, the winner,
Right.
but you could see crowds like off in the peripheral of the screen of green jumpsuits losing their minds, and eventually you just
no
hear,
way.
Nico.
To the
Like,
Nico chants.
show the action. We don't care about Lando. No one cares about Lando
They
right
kept
now.
showing Lando even when he got like his trophy, and I'm like, they're still chanting Nico.
Yeah.
They're still chanting
This is
Nico.
an epic moment.
Yeah.
I know your British boy won his first Silverstone Grand Prix, but obviously didn't pass anyone to get there, like you
totally.
said. And Nico is all anyone wants to see right now. Yeah.
And I love that. And again, I think that Max is one of those world champs that he has world champion material, which is those things that are hard to accept because it's like, you're just annoying because that's what it takes to be a world champ. But he's a gracious loser and such a good dude sometimes that it blows my mind.
Yeah.
Max had the worst race.
Yeah.
And he spun out and fell to ninth.
Arguably, he has every right to be mad.
He had every right to get out of the car and be pissed, but he was the first one to congratulate Nico on the radio, to drive up to him, and then as soon as he got out of the car to go give him a handshake.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And it makes you reconsider, is there bias in the media saying how much of a monster he is?
Yeah. I mean, I think he's proven he's a pretty good dude.
Yeah.
And like, I think if Lewis was in that situation, and Lewis is a humble, really nice guy, we all know that about him, but the competitor in him, no way.
Didn't you go up and give him a high five?
No, but I'm saying that if he had fallen,
out of like first place,
and like was winning the race and then crashed,
yeah, I get you.
I don't think he would have been the first one up being like,
"Yo, good
like,
job,
good job, Nico." I think he would have been like, "This race sucks. I'm going to my trailer."
Yeah, I'm not gonna argue there. I can see that. So yeah, so good on Max, and then good on everyone. I think everyone's been pointing out all the great things about Nico Hulkenberg getting on the podium. Like when he goes into the cool down room and like Lando brings his helmet. It's like, hey, like you should put this here.
Yeah,
He's
totally.
like, I have no idea. You guys do this every week.
Yeah.
You're well versed.
And it's funny, Oscar asked the question that I legit was thinking.
What is it?
During the podium ceremony, which was like, so you've waited 15 years for your first podium and they give you a trophy made of Legos. How do you feel about that? And Nico's answer was like, it was like very mature, we'll say.
Yeah.
But he was like, I love Legos.
Yeah.
And also my daughter could probably play with this.
Yeah.
He's like, some silver or some gold would have been nice, but yeah, I'll take a Lego.
Yeah. In those moments when Nico has won, he did do like a really hard celebration after he got down. I was like, that's good.
Yeah.
But everything else is very just like very mature, very like controlled. And I wanted him to be losing his mind. But like, one, he's one of the older guys on the track. He's my age.
Right.
He's 38, 37.
Yeah.
And two, has a family. So it's like he is mature.
Right.
Also German.
Right, yeah, just like, and the only German who's ever been truly over the top animated was Sebastian.
Yeah. This is very out of character.
Very out of character for that country, for sure.
Yeah.
But
so it all makes sense.
One of the best things that like was very funny and cracked me up about this was if you, and I love seeing this, but because people have made this reference on Instagram all weekend, but if you had just gone to see the F1 movie, and this is your first race that you've watched.
Yeah.
Sonny Hayes got a podium.
Yeah.
In reality.
Yeah.
Nico Hulkenberg, a driver who's been in and out of F1
Yeah.
and has been the super sub and just been the mature, rock solid guy for so many teams, gets his first podium. Like, it's
At
just funny that it's
Silverstone.
like this Cinderella story of
yeah.
sorts that takes place on the first race after the movie releases. And it's
Yeah,
like, wow, that draws a lot of weird parallels to the movie you just made.
Also, Nico Hulkenberg might be my man crush on the grid. Brad Pitt is my crush
totally,
right now.
yeah, he's totally
I'm very
Brad
attracted
Pitt's.
to both drivers.
Brad Pitt and like Nico is his stunt double effectively
For
this.
sure. Yeah, they're both good looking dudes. Yeah, a lot of parallels. Which is funny. There are little whispers in the media, social media, or like people talking about the F1 movie saying like so unrealistic. And I'm thinking like, no, it's super realistic.
Yeah.
And why can't you just accept that? Like
Right.
if you want realism, go watch a documentary.
Right.
Hulkenberg got on a podium, dude.
Right.
There's a lot of realism in the movie.
Totally.
Especially if you want miracles and your dreams to come true.
Right.
Believe in the impossible.
It's funny that like to your point, someone had even mentioned this to me is that they were like the the scene where the combat or not combat, but the chaos is taking place, where he's kind of like crashing on purpose or blowing tires or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, this is kind of a K-Mag thing. and then I'm like, but like the truth is that there's a line. If you cross that line, then you're banned for life, which is what happened to Flavio Briatore.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, the sequence that's kind of like him in Hungary and he's causing chaos is embellished and borderline like, yeah, it wouldn't be acceptable.
Yeah.
But it's good movie
It's a good
stuff.
movie.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like they could get away with it.
To some extent,
That's what I'm
right?
saying. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm this old guy, I can't drive, and
Yeah.
it's a crappy car. Like,
Totally.
Totally probably played into that.
As long as they didn't listen to the radio.
Yeah. Also,
Right.
this weekend, Kevin Magnussen was there to support his
I
friend
know,
Nico.
it was the freaking best.
Like Haas boys were chilling at the Kick Sauber paddock and just like crushing it.
Of all the weekends for K-Mag to show up,
Yeah.
what a good one for him to be there. And like,
Yeah.
he's in the freaking Sauber garage as he crosses the line and they're all jumping and everything. I'm like, that was a great moment.
Yeah.
Such
I love
a
that.
great
I love
moment.
that they're like friends. Yeah, that they don't hate each other. They were great Haas teammates.
Yeah.
Great years for Haas.
Trevor's making a bunch of comments about
Trevor, welcome.
welcome, but he's making a bunch of comments about like Lewis, and I don't want to like over acknowledge this right
Is
now.
Trevor mad that Lewis didn't like secure a podium because he's had his record of podiums for years?
He's like, Max was class. He deserves to be at Mercedes. Toto's rubbing off
There's
on
so
him.
much bitterness in Trevor right now.
And he's like, it's like, but Lando and Oscar were super lame in the debrief room. I don't really like them right now.
Well, they hate
Lost
each other right now.
respect for each other.
Oscar was in a terrible mood.
Yeah, I told, and
Yeah.
why wouldn't he be?
Yeah.
And so Lewis, he said Lewis was the first one to go up and, congratulate Max, even though the 8th championship was stolen from him. And I'm like, okay,
That's
Trevor,
true.
okay,
Yeah,
all
yeah.
right, whatever.
Trevor's using facts, and I guess that's okay.
I just go with my gut.
Often gut is truth.
Yeah. It's
If
what
you-
we've learned in
The
2025.
truth is what you feel in your gut.
That's my truth. I've watched a lot of Love Island, and there's one thing I've learned is that I need to be true to myself and my truth.
And that is what's
Okay,
true.
I'm officially done with it. I haven't watched none of Love Island.
You seem to know a lot about it. Interesting.
You know.
Yeah, Oscar was not happy.
Oh, and I think he deserved to not be happy.
Yeah, and it's totally fine. I am excited that McLaren is continually getting more angry at each other.
Right. I think that this is slowly
Yeah.
boiling over. We're seeing the real Oscar. He's been so chill, and now he's like, I'm so sick of this.
Yeah. Psychopath.
Yeah.
We always called him a psychopath. It's
It
great.
is just boiling. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. What happens in Spa? Like, do we get to see this boil over?
Yeah.
And because I'm like, yeah, there has been some very unfortunate, like on a silver platter, here's a win Landos that I feel like have been happening. That like even the Australian Grand Prix at the beginning of the year, like I just didn't think that like it was just Lando got lucky and Oscar's car spun out in the rain. There's just been these
lot
little
of
moments of that,
opportunities.
you're right, that just have been like slipped through
interesting
the
take.
fingers, right? So I think that's
One way to win a championship is just to be in the right place at the right time, and that requires effort.
100%.
Yeah.
So
But when Oscar is dialed in, then like he's deadly.
he's hard to beat.
Yeah, he's really hard to beat.
And I think that this was a silly mistake. He's definitely going to learn from
Well,
it.
he
Never
didn't
make
know that
mistake again.
you couldn't do more than 30 psi.
Right.
If you're gonna push the brakes,
Yeah.
got to be 30 psi or less.
Exactly. And now we're going to have pressure gauges on the steering
Oh,
wheel.
gosh.
You know what I mean?
It's gonna be nuts.
so stupid.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, we'll see.
I am also very excited that no matter who is in that cool down room, they are always going to be the buffer.
Right.
They're going to be the mediator for
100%.
Lando and Oscar. All conversations are going to be going through that. I feel like that's how it was in the Max and Lewis year.
Yeah.
It was just Max and Lewis who either talked to whoever else was in the room, and it was so great.
Totally.
Yeah, I love that. I love the awkwardness.
It was my favorite part of what, like, I think we've talked about this, but one of my favorite things about the Sebastian Vettel years was that he was literally just the comic relief for the podiums and the cool down rooms because he'd just be there between like Nico and Lewis and just like, hey, I finished third again.
I really wish there was more of like a comedian that could like poke the bear in those rooms. Be
Sebastian was the king of it. It was so great. And he would just be like, I don't know. My weekend was pretty good. What about you guys?
they hate each other.
And they both like wouldn't smile. And it was just so good. It was the best.
Oh, Nico. So Oscar, how's your race?
Yeah. That was the
Do you
other.
think this weekend panned out like you thought?
That was the other thing that my wife made a note to that was really funny. Is she was sitting there and she goes, "Look at these babies in the room with Nico. Like he looks like the chaperone.
Yeah,
he's
looks so much more older. Yeah,
Lando and Oscar. Oh man, but it's part of why we love him.
Uh-huh.
He deserves to be there no matter what. It doesn't matter how old the kids are.
Yeah,
that he's racing with these days.
He's still crushing it. So it gives me hope. I mean, a little bit of a gear shift gives me hope for the Audi car.
Yes, totally.
Nico's a great driver. We give him a good car, he'll be fighting up at the top or in the mid pack really, really well. If no other teams show up, then that Audi car could be a lot of fun to watch.
Definitely.
I was happy that Gabriel Bortoleto was like, there was some screenshots that you've seen of like him as a blur running past Lando to get to Nico. I'm like, what a great teammate.
Yeah, he's so
Just
excited
a rookie.
for him.
Like, yeah, man, I've probably followed you my whole life.
Yeah, totally.
And you finally got your podium. Let's go.
So awesome.
Again, it was very much like F1.
Yeah, it did.
JP
It was like,
and Sonny.
Yeah,
he's
totally.
like, I'll get the next win. Like,
yeah.
you
I've got
this.
tons of time.
Yeah.
Your career's over.
You're dead. Holy cow, yeah.
One last little note that I felt like was interesting, and we've touched on it all episode, but I feel like I've forgotten to mention all the way until now. One of the things that I felt about the F1 movie, because everyone's been talking to me about it this week, it's also been like settling in a little.
Yeah.
You drew a parallel that was really interesting about like Mighty Ducks, and I made fun of it.
Yeah.
Rightfully so. I think it was because
It's a funny parallel.
Yeah, like Knuckle
Kids
Puck
movie and adult movie. Yeah,
right,
yeah.
right. But what I feel like F1 is it's an 80s movie. It is a modern era 80s film where we are not taking the script or the story arc or any of the things too seriously. Like you said, like we're not feeding into too much about like looking at the card. They're important character traits of our lead guy, but they're not like the emphasis.
Yeah.
We're not going to overdo those things. And he's got that cowboyness of like, kind of like, my job here is done. And he moves on and like
rides off in the sunset.
Right.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of like that Karate Kid type of approach to filmmaking that this movie had. And I think that that's why I walked out of it being like, I don't know.
It's great.
It's hard for me to hate it.
It's hard. Yeah, it's great.
And people who are going into it and being like, oh, it's so cheesy or whatever about certain elements. I'm just like, why?
Man.
Why do you care about that?
Why not love it? It's a movie about your favorite sport.
Yeah.
And they crushed it.
And they did a great job.
Enjoy it because you didn't get another one.
Right, yeah.
There's no other racing movie about F1 out there with Brad Pitt.
No. And it's going to be really hard pressed to beat.
Yeah.
Unless you want to watch a 30-minute montage of seat fitting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, you want that?
It's not realistic. You wouldn't just jump in. You have to get a seat fitting, Burns.
Yeah. Sorry,
guys.
I didn't realize that when you had
Actually, it would take way more than just a few races to develop a new front wing that would be like very good at racing closely behind cars in dirty air.
Whereas I beg to differ with this situation. That the floor would require a lot more time and attention just on the edge.
Yeah.
The combat would not just be the edge.
It's like,
Get over it.
Get over it. And
It's a
enjoy
movie.
It. Yeah. Okay.
So, anyways, I think we've reached an hour plus.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, we have a very fun surprise
Oh, okay.
for everyone. We saved this
Oh,
as
yeah,
a
we
surprise
saved
for
this
the
for the
end. As you know, in previous years after the British Grand Prix, we have sent our British correspondent to Silverstone
Henry the Haas Chap Wallace.
to get his boots on the ground and deliver us a report from the field.
Right.
And this week we have Henry's report from Silverstone.
We've got it.
So our very own Henry the Haas Chap Wallace, we're going to be cutting
He's going to
now.
take us out.
We're going to take us out. So enjoy.
Play us out. What does that mean?
Play us out, Sam. But yeah, if you haven't already, please subscribe, like, share us, but tell us about all your friends. And then join us next week, every week at the same time. And then enjoy this from the Haas Chap. And thank you, Haas Chap. You're the man.
From the deserts of Abu Dhabi to the shores of Baku and Miami, Haas Boy's investigative F1 field fan phenomenon features Henry the Haas Chap Wallace.
Hello there.
It's still recording this, right?
It's day one of the British Grand Prix, Thursday. It's a glorious weekend, supposedly. There's going to be apparently a few clouds in the sky, but we'll worry about that when we come to it. Safe to say, the British Grand Prix 2025 is a go.
Good transition. Good transition.
And here we are, the British Grand Prix. You like Beyonce?
His friend that went with him last year, I think.
Come on, let's go. I'm just walking currently through Maggots and Beckett's heading up to Cops. One of the things that I have seen so far is that currently I've seen 3 people with a Haas merch, not including me, which is just phenomenal as far as I'm concerned. But we're currently heading to the infield. We're going to be walking for about another 1,000 years to get there. You can probably hear behind me, I've currently got Benetton 191 running. Just doing some tests before they do their sort of parade display laps over the weekend. I'm here with quite an array of historic Formula 1 cars. If you had made it into the inner track, this is somewhere that you could just come and walk around. Absolutely insane. Well, a hard cut to probably a good 6 or 7 hours later, and I just spent my entire time having some drinks and meeting some friends and chatting to loads of amazing people. Jenson Button walked past me, which I'm going to hold as one of the highlights so far of this weekend. Jenson Button, he is the spitting image of one of my older brothers, which is kind of insane. Right, here we go, finally at the track. F3 practice is wrapped up, and F2 is just about to start. And I got myself a free ice cream. You jealous? Yeah, you better be. This is Nordic Berry. And I have another one in my pocket. As you can see behind me goes the Haas. We're in FP1s. I'm here at Village, which is just kind of after turn 1. And it's so good to see Formula 1 cars back on the track in person. Here comes Lando Norris. Hi Lando. Isaac Hadjar. Fernando. It's kind of like train spotting but cooler. Well, I'm back at the campsite and I've got a top tip for any people who are attending a Grand Prix. It doesn't have to be the British Grand Prix, it could be anywhere. If you're going to have a shower, and if you've got the facilities for a shower and you're camping, for the love of God, do it in the evening. Don't do it first thing in the morning because there's going to be no hot water. The pressure is going to be absolutely atrocious. Do it in the evening, you're going to have a nice, pressured, hot shower, and you're going to feel so good when you go to bed. You're not going to feel like all greasy and dusty and ugh.
Good top tips.
That's Henry's top tip of the weekend. Shower in the evening. Well, good morning. It is Saturday morning, qualifying day. We had an earlier bed last night. But today is a very different sort of day because there's more people to see, there's more racing to watch. We're just about to start qualifying. I'm this close to the track. I'm this close. I could smell them. Is that weird?
I don't have mustache.
I'm currently at the maiden stage. Just waiting for Haas to come out. I've got about another hour and a half until they do, but you've got to be front and centre to get the good spots. I've noticed quite a few Haas fans here. There's one. There's more over there. Haas fans in front of me. Haas fans
so
to the
many
left of me.
Heck yeah.
Haas for life. Well, you join me probably several hours later. Qualifying day has wrapped up. It's the Hilton behind me. I'm here with Nick. He's right there. And Haas came in, well, technically it was P8, P15. Good to see Ollie like absolutely smash it in qualifying. But because of his red flag situation and going too fast, you know, pit lane nonsense. He's got a 10th place grid penalty, so he's starting P18, but the entire team, and I have this with true conviction and testimonial from a few people from the team, there is every chance of a decent recovery for tomorrow. So that's what's going to happen. We're going to see a Haas 1-2, and it's going to be glorious, as always. It's been a very long day. We've been to see Fat Boy Slim, which is amazing. Met some amazing people. Met some fans of my channel and what I do.
Yeah.
The most bizarre thing in the entire world, but very, very nice to meet them, very sweet to say hello. Sam Cheap got me a beer, superb, love that. And now we look to race day. Well, it's the last day today, and it's going to be not a particularly warm one, not a particularly cold one, but nevertheless it is the last day of the British Grand Prix weekend, and it's always kind of sad when these things sort of come to a close, because you come to the weekend all excited and there's so much expectation about what's going to happen, what you're going to do and what you're going to see, and this one has certainly been pretty damn cool. Certainly, every time I've come it's been an amazing experience, but nevertheless it's going to be a tricky one to depart from. Not for any sort of emotional reason, but well, it's going to be a tricky one because the tent's kind of wet and all of my clothes are all over the place, so I've no idea what's clean and what's dirty. But we're going to get ready and head to the track. This is our campsite.
Oh, yeah,
I'm using a bottle of Pepsi Max to prop open my boot because the gas strap's gone. This is the contents of the back of my car for this weekend. And this morning I feel like for breakfast is pea and ham soup.
Oh yes.
Lovely. It's race day. It's not even 8:15 and already the general admission areas are piling up. At one of my favourite corners, Stowe, because you've got a big screen and you've got a lovely corner and a big straight to watch all the cars and a decent view. Look at the size of this hot dog. Oh my god. We've got helicopters behind us. I don't really know how I'm going to attack this with one of them. We're sat up now waiting for Formula 2 race to begin. It's been absolutely torrential this morning, but thankfully that stops now, and we can get going on some racing action. But it's very wet on track, a lot of standing water, so we're just going to have to wait and see. Oh look, my taxi's arrived. I'll be back in a minute. Sit rep. It's raining.
The mechanics were rather irrelevant, but Jack Crawford holding on in there, Alex Dunn could be, and I think also Chris Brown is justifiably frustrated.
The British weather doesn't fail to deliver. Something that I wasn't expecting today was that I was going to be sat in my seat at Stowe, right next to the Lando stand in the distance, and I'm falling asleep. I am very tired. I'm ready to go home now. But after the race, obviously, when there's going to be a Haas 1-2. We've got 20 minutes to go. 20 minutes to go. Any thoughts for the race?
Haas 1-2.
Haas 1-2, baby. Just waiting for the national anthem to play out by Becky Hill. And then we're going to get going. Jeremy Clarkson's here. Idris Elba's here. The sun has come out probably for all of about 30 seconds, but we're going to enjoy it while it lasts and pray for an exciting race. I reckon it's going to be quite changeable conditions today, so Haas points certainly on the cards, I reckon. If only Ollie hadn't got that stupid bloody penalty, we would have been starting 8th. Definitely would have meant a win. Formation lap. At the front. Max Verstappen. We're getting ready. We're moments away now. Are you ready for it? There's a Haas. There's one of them. There's Ollie. There he goes. Good luck, lads. It's not even been a lap, and there is a VSC. Liam Lawson is out. Colapinto didn't even leave the pits after re-entering after the formation lap. This is going to be a very interesting race. The VSC literally just ended and Gabby Bortoledo didn't it, although he's brought it back. This is going to be one of those days. I was wrong. Bortoletto's out, another VSC.
Last weekend, Russell
Safety car, safety car, safety car, safety car, safety car, safety car, safety car. Safety car is winning all the time. The most laps led has been the safety car. Just what a safety car restart looks like in real life. Well, there we are. British Grand Prix done. Lando Norris P1. Oscar Piastri P2. Nico Hulkenberg P3. Nico Hulkenberg. I'll say that. Nico Hulkenberg P3.
Still can't believe that he did.
I've just witnessed Nico Hulkenberg's first ever podium. And there we are.
So good.
Well, that's it. The 2025 British Grand Prix is over. I'd like to thank you for coming on this journey with me. It's been an emotional one. Definitely not the result
sitting in the
that
passenger
I wanted as a Haas fan, but you know, you've got to take these sorts of things on the chin. You know, as far as I'm aware, we're down now to P9 in the championship, which is obviously a very hard pill to swallow, but considering how competitive it is at the moment and how amazingly Hulkenberg pulled that off today, we couldn't have done it. Just couldn't have done it. There was glimmers of hope throughout the weekend with Ollie in getting a P3 in Q1 and making it all the way to P8 for quali without, you know, the penalty. That would have been like a really hot place for him to start. A couple of really silly moments for the two of them, but it's been really fun. I've met some amazing people, met some Haas fans, met some Fast Ones fans. So if I met you and you're listening to this, then please take this as a note of thanks. So I'm going to hand you back to Mike and Max. Thanks for listening, thanks for watching. Very much looking forward to seeing how the team get on in Spa. So do remember the old adage, stay cool, stay sexy, support Haas.